Welcome to this month at the Fall River Career Center, our November edition, Thanksgiving edition, I guess. We missed our Halloween edition. But,
well, some of us didn't.
You didn't.
All right.
That's right. Well, I'd like to welcome everybody to our show, a show where we talk about everything that's happening at the Fall River Career Center, the Taunton Career Center, and the Attleboro Career Center. If you're not familiar with our agency, we're an employment and training agency, and we service both job seekers and employers. So anybody who's interested in coming down, looking for work, need help with a resume, need help with interviewing skills, need help with an application online, we're a walk-in agency. You should come right down. We'll have somebody to serve you that very day. Also, if you're an employer and you're looking for information on local, federal, and state programs, tax incentives, grants, or if you're looking to hire, the Career Centers are the place to come. So we got a real special show today. We have some great guests as usual. I'd like to start off by introducing them. But first, I just want to talk about a little bit what we're going to be talking about today as far as our theme, and that's going to be branding. So branding seems to be kind of a hot item these days. Most businesses you think of, when you think in brand, you think of businesses like Harley Davidson or Nike or Apple or Dunkin' Donuts or McDonald's. But over the last 15 years, a personal brand has become really important in terms of people's careers. And we're going to talk about how you can build your personal brand. And like I said, we've got some experts here to talk about that. So let me start off by introducing our panel. Firstly, on to my right here, we have Bridget Shields, Multimedia Account Executive at Wicked Local Media, and she's going to be our brand expert on the show. Bridget's going to talk about the importance of building a brand and share with us techniques and strategies she used to build her own personal brand. So thanks for being here, Bridget.
Thank you for having me.
We have Cheryl Cote, who is the owner of Orange Leaf in Swansea, Massachusetts. My wife's favorite yogurt place. Mine too, by the way.
Wonderful.
But
Glad to have you.
I think I go a little over the top with the cups, the servings. So I know it's a healthy choice, but when I get to the scale, I get a little embarrassed. I think you should have a scale before the dispensers. I think it would help me. But thanks for being here. She's going to talk a little bit about the hiring process. She's got some great programs going on, and we're happy you're here, Cheryl. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric.
And of course, we have Kim Frank, our business service representative. Kim is a vital asset to our agency. She's out and about meeting with employers every day, talking to them about our services, talking to them about jobs. And as usual, we're happy to have you here, Kim.
Thanks, Eric. It's good to be here.
Great. So I'd like to start off the show with Kim. We'll go right back at you, Kim, just to talk a little bit about what's going on at the Career Center. I know we've got some job fairs going on, and I'll turn it over to you.
We do. Thanks, Eric, and thank you, ladies, for joining us. It's always a pleasure to have some interesting hosts here, and you girls seem like you have a lot to offer and a lot of information that's going to be valuable to our home viewers. So again, thank you. First thing I really want to talk about is the huge job fair that we are having on November 13th over at the Fall River Government Center. Again, highlighting the veterans from 9 to 10 and from 10 to 12 noon. Sponsored by, of course, Mayor Flanagan's office, will be open to the general public. So from 9 to 10, veterans priority. From 10 to 12 noon, general public. We're hoping to have at least maybe 70 to 80 employers. So if you are looking for work, know someone who may be looking for work, looking to change careers, I would tell you to come on down and maybe just meet and greet with some employers and have a professional resume. We have some workshops going on right now at the Fall River Career Center, so I would tell you to totally take advantage of some of the tips and the highlights that our specialists can guide you with. Interviewing techniques. So please take advantage of that. And if you have any questions, please feel free to call the Fall River Career Center, 508-730-5000, and ask for a job fair representative. November 19th, over at the Mansfield Holiday Inn, we have a veterans job fair where vets and spouses are invited to join us. Do we have a time on that, Eric?
It's 9 a.m. to 12 p.m.
Okay. We have several retail positions right now because we're entering the Christmas season. We have several retail stores that are looking for some quality people. And I know a lot of people frown upon looking for seasonal positions, but the one thing that people don't take into account is the fact that if you are a dedicated, hardworking person, most of the time those companies will keep you on after the holidays because they're looking for people that are responsible, people that do want to work, people that have that initiative, people that need to feed their families. And most families today, you know, maybe mom or dad or both are only working a part-time job. They may need a second income, you know, up and above what they're doing now. So if you are interested, I would tell you to stop into the Fall River, Taunton, or Attleboro Career Center and find out more about those positions.
Okay, great. And just a little bit more about those job fairs. We're expecting, you know, a plethora of our employers covering every single industry,
Absolutely.
various positions.
Absolutely.
So regardless of what field you're in, what industry you're in, probably a good idea to come down and network, find out about some jobs.
Absolutely.
And that's
And I
whether you're
cannot
working or not working.
Can't stress enough, you know, dress to impress everybody. You know, your first impression is the most important impression. That's the one that really, you know, stays with someone. Think about it. The first time I met Eric and he was in his pajamas, I just totally, I didn't know what to think. Totally didn't know what to think.
That was just yesterday. It cleaned me right up.
But it is very important. You know, come down prepared to meet with an employer, have your resume, and be ready to, you know, to meet and greet with an employer because this might be the opportunity of a lifetime.
Great. Thanks, Kim.
You're welcome.
And speaking of employers, we have Cheryl Cote here from Orange Leaf in Swansea. And how long have you owned Orange Leaf, Cheryl?
Well, we got into Orange Leaf about a year and a half ago, where we opened our Swansea store. About 10 months ago, we opened a second store in Bristol. And how we got started in the business was we were out. We were out at another location of Orange Leaf, and we really loved it. We loved the brand. We loved the people. We loved everything about it. And so we thought, hey, we can do this. And so, you know, we did our research, and lo and behold, we started our first one, which grew into a second one. So although not actively hiring, we are always, you never know when we're going to have an opening. We typically do our hiring in the spring when our busy season takes off. And that's kind of what we do. But we're out, when I'm out there, and I'm just going to say this from a perspective of a person who's out. When I go to a restaurant, I go to something like this, the first thing I notice is who's greeting me, who's saying, hi, how you doing? A friendly face.
Right.
Who's going above and beyond. I'm shameless, and yes, I've seen people that I thought, oh my God, I would love to have them work for Orange Leaf. And so.
Yeah, and I know that's important.
Yeah.
Because I was on your website last night doing some research, stalking your website, and when I was on the website, it said, our customers prefer us because of our awesome froyo, which is short for frozen yogurt. It took me a while to figure that out, believe it or not. Fun people and cool spoons.
Okay.
What
so
makes
the
your spoon so cool? I know can I give you my favorite spoon?
Go ahead.
Definitely by far the spork. I love the spork. Does that count as a spoon?
No,
You know the spoon
it's a
slash
spork. It's a spork.
That's a spoon, right?
No.
That's in the spoon family?
No, it's a spork.
All right.
It's a crossbreed. It's a crossbreed.
It's a hybrid.
Well, you don't have a favorite spoon, Kim, do you?
Well, it's definitely not a spork, Eric.
But your favorite spoon is orange. No?
Orange, that's right.
Orange.
All right, tell me about your spoons.
Okay, so the spoon it's an orange spoon. It looks kind of like a mini shovel. And I guess it's the more you can get in at the same time. But it is our trademark, our orange spoon. And we do all kinds of fun things with the spoons. We do a lot of marketing with them. We make them Christmas tree ornaments. We, you know, do a lot of media with them.
The second part of that was that you look for fun people to be part of your organization.
Fun people.
And how important is that when you are during the hiring process, when you are hiring? Are you looking at the qualities and characteristics, or what type of qualities and characteristics are you looking for in a person? Somebody that's enthusiastic, obviously.
So Eric, what I do when I interview, I throw away all the interviewing rules and the guidelines people sometimes use. I just want to know the person. I want to know what you're all about, what you do in your spare time. Are you energetic? Are you fun-loving? You must love children. We host a character night every week, and when I tell you this character night must have 200 children in the building at the same time. And I want people who are going to go out there and talk to children, say, hey, how's your yogurt today? You know, what kind of other toppings would you like to see? Or get involved with the character, whether we're doing a dance with the character, or you have to be that fun-loving, anything goes kind of individual.
Absolutely. It makes people want to go there. And
Absolutely.
you know, any time I go to Orange Leaf, the experiences are always pleasurable. So you guys are doing a good job of keeping
Thank
that
you.
brand.
And I have to say,
We
the
certainly
pumpkin-
try.
The pumpkin yogurt, oh my goodness, it's my new addiction.
Pumpkin latte, our flavor of the month.
Pumpkin latte.
It's pretty impressive.
Great. And I know you got some great fundraising capabilities. You got an elementary school battle going on right now in Somerset. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So Orange Leaf is all about community and family, and part of our thing being a franchise of Orange Leaf is giving back to our community and working within. So this month alone, we have all the Somerset elementary schools who are all doing a week-long fundraiser themselves. So they get these great little cards to pass out to the students. Any supporter comes in, hands over the card, and they get a portion of the sale. At the end of the 4 weeks, well, it's 3 weeks now with 3 schools, we total, and whoever had the most sales also gets a bonus check. So every school gets something for participating. They get a portion of their own sales. Plus, if you were the top school, you get a bonus check.
That's terrific.
We do all kinds. We can come on site. So if you're a large organization, not just schools, but if you're a nonprofit organization anywhere, we have fundraising. Our fundraising capabilities are endless.
Yeah.
We can tailor something for any organization.
And you cater. And how can somebody get in touch with you? Say, just call you directly?
They can call us at Orange Leaf at the store. They can reach out.
That number?
I will. Our main store number is 508-567-6215, or they can email right to orangeleafswansea@comcast.net.
Okay, great. Very good.
Yeah.
And we'll get back to you.
Thank you,
Some
Art.
branding questions as well.
Okay.
To my right, I have Bridget Shields. I've known Bridget for a long time, and I've known Bridget to be somebody who's always been enthusiastic and engaged in her work. So she's done a really good job of building her own personal brand. And I wanted you to talk a little bit about, Bridget, how important it is for somebody to build a personal brand.
Sure. Well, if we talk about personal brands, I think it's really important. One of the first things when people hear the word brand, you had brought this up, is that you think of Nike, you think of ESPN as a brand, you think of that whole conglomerate. Well, a personal brand is essentially the same thing. How people perceive you, do people understand what you represent, your brand represents? Building a personal brand really has a lot of different facets that are part of it. Back in the day, it really was, just like businesses, a word of mouth. But now, with the internet being what it is, social media being what it is, it really is about how you allow your perception, the perception of you, to be perceived. How are you putting messages out about yourself? How do people see you in the workplace? How do you engage with other people? Down to how are you dressing when you're going to, say, an interview, or you're going to a social event, or you're going to Orange Leaf. All of that combined really is how you're actively building, improving, or unfortunately, lowering your personal brand. So it's a conscious effort to build your own personal brand. There's no such thing, if you're part of the modern world with technology, of just being anymore. So there's a conscious effort on the fact of what you do offline and what you do online, and also who you surround yourself with. We all have 400 of our closest friends online, right? People that we haven't seen. If you're posting things and you're getting responses and things on your newsfeed and it's filled with negative comments, foul language, it would suit you best to remove yourself from those people, or advise and ask nicely that they not post that.
Right.
You know, even if your page is private, in this day and age, nothing's really private. Your post can be reshared, comments are seen.
Absolutely.
For personal business branding, LinkedIn is a fantastic platform for people to build their personal brand. You have the opportunity to reach out to past employers and current employers and network. You get to ask for referrals. And there's nothing to be ashamed of. If you are a hardworking individual, you should have no problem getting references from people that you've worked with and connecting. Plus, you never know where that can lead you looking for future employment opportunities as well.
Right. Yeah, so I mean, if you were going to tell somebody that, you know, you need to start your personal brand today, even though, you know, they've probably already started their personal brand, but a good platform would probably be to begin on LinkedIn. Right, LinkedIn is probably a good platform to begin your personal brand in terms of your career, correct?
Of course, and LinkedIn can be intimidating for somebody that hasn't gone onto it yet, but it's like anything else, any other platform. I mean, years ago, it was MySpace, then it progressed to Facebook. And LinkedIn, you know, people are moving on to Instagram now, which, you know, I don't know much about because I'm in that, you know, that lame area where, you know, I'm a little too old for Instagram and, you know, the younger people. So the demographic is changing on Facebook. But LinkedIn is a way to socially engage on a business level with potential employers and your friends to really see people's pedigrees, for them to be able to see you. It's an online version of your resume. It allows a little more flavor to who you are. And again, people can see your recommendations from previous employers or coworkers or just people in general that know you that can really help boost who you are. For an immediate thing for people to do is to really assess how they're seen, how people are perceiving them. You could, it sounds a little bit cheesy, but you could say to your friends, how do you see me? How are you perceiving me? Really, your closest friends, please be brutally honest. How do you see me? Because you can have a really eye-opening experience, because if that's how your closest friends see you, that is how somebody else sees you, plus assumption. So add assumption to that. So people assume things about people. So
and you never know how people perceive you.
Exactly. You know, we have our own images. We want to see ourselves in a certain light. So it's really important to, it's almost a self-evaluation process you have to go through and say, how do I want to be perceived, first of all? And how am I perceived? And if those aren't even close to be aligned, you have to really start looking at who you're associating with, what you're doing socially, because there really is no separation of church and state anymore when it comes to social and professional because of the way that the internet works. So, you know, it doesn't stay in Vegas, right?
No, exactly, you're right. It's funny.
It stays on Twitter, it stays on Facebook.
We do I did a branding workshop at Taunton High School, and one of the questions I told the students to put on Facebook was, ask your friends if they were somebody was going to play the movie about your life, who would play the role?
That's a great question.
Right, so, you know, if somebody said Charlie Sheen, you'd be like, oh, wait a minute, I'm going to cut my drinking habits back. But the funny part about that, I asked my nieces that. It was a few years ago when I started the workshop. And they were 11 and 9 at the time. And at the time, you know, the 9-year-old was like into Harry Potter, so she said Harry Potter. But the 11-year-old, who was really smart in her ways, she said something that kind of blew me away. She said, and it made an impact. She said, Uncle Eric, why would anybody ever make a movie about your life? So I was like, oh man, that's exactly what I needed to hear. I'm a complete bore, right? So I had to start changing my plan, but that's exactly what I needed to hear. So you want to hear about the way people perceive you. So ask your family.
Howard Stern,
right? Howard Stern, perfect, beautiful.
But all that being said, Bridget is right. Don't be fake, and don't. It's nice to embellish a little bit, but be careful. Because when I interview, and like I said, I have a pretty laid-back style of interviewing, but I want to get to know who you are. But I'm going to look at your Facebook. I'm going to look at your Twitter. I'm going to look at those things. And if they don't match what I saw, then already there's a dishonest quality that turns me off, and that has probably killed that chance for any opportunity of employment.
Oh, absolutely. There's a stat out there that says that, you know, during the hiring process, hiring managers and human resource managers will look at the candidate's Facebook page 80% of the time.
Absolutely.
And 70% of the time, that same group did not hire somebody because of something disparaging on that site. But I want to go back to something you said. It's about being real, right? Authenticity is probably one of the most important parts of a brand. Be real. I mean, you just don't want to, you know, just put anything out there just for the sake of putting things out there. But the best brands in the world, there's a product behind it. You know, there's a quality behind it, and that's why we keep going back to it. Besides that, they're marketing machines, but usually there's some quality, there's some product, and there's some authenticity. So.
And Eric, there's something true about do what you like and like what you do. Because if it's, you know, and many times, I think as employers, we've hired people we thought would be a great fit. But once you get there, if you're not liking what you do, it shows and it reflects in your work. And, and so you want a good fit. And that's why as employers, we really strive to, you know, to do the best we can to find that fit. So you're happy with what you're doing and you're going to excel. We're happy because it's a great presence for our industry and how people perceive us. So when people think frozen yogurt, I want them to go, oh, Orange Leaf, we have such a great time when we're there. Not just, hey, that's the best yogurt I've ever had, because obviously it is. but I want them to think, wow, great time.
Right.
You know,
The experience
We
was good.
sell an experience.
You were going to say, Bridget.
With that being said too, it's really important that companies as well with their brand really communicate what their mission statement is. So you are doing a wonderful job with your business with a lot of companies that we try to speak to get them to understand that if you are part of a community as a local business owner, that you need to be involved, that a brand is not just about the yogurt. It is about the people that are behind it, that are serving it, that the experience.
That's going to make people.
It is, and you find that a lot of local business owners rely on the corporate brands that they may resell. So if you have, say, a hardware store, for example, that has Bosch tools, and I'm just throwing it out there for names, they would rely on that brand, but that's really not who they are.
Right, that's a good point.
And that's a really big disconnect. And you know, if they can go to a bigger chain that has a lower price because they have not identified with that smaller business, that's where we see so many of our smaller businesses struggling to make sure that they've maintained that preference with the local community.
Sure.
So you'll see the Lowe's and the Home Depots popping up, and there's nothing wrong with those, but our mom and pop shops are struggling because they haven't established their brand. And they run into the problem where if they haven't really set forth what they're about, they get applicants, they go through it, this person's not a fit for the company. I mean, larger companies go through it as well. They're not a fit for the culture of the company. So branding across the board, both personally and professionally, all the way through a corporate company, it's really got to be about you taking control of how you're being perceived in the outside world.
And I know, I'm glad you brought that up, Bridget, because I know Wicked Local is running a promotion right now where you're helping people building their social media brand essentially. You want to talk a little bit about that and how to get more information on it?
Right, so we are doing, it's a spoof on holidays, be social, not silent. There are a lot of companies that tend to cringe in the face of the idea of getting on board with social media. Where do I start? Oh, I have my personal page, I have my Google Plus page set up, but it's not claimed, there's no pictures, I don't know where to go. So we're offering a 15% discount on one of our social conversation packages that starts very reasonably priced with a very reasonable commitment time. But we would go in, we help either boost your current page, freshen up, whether it's a Facebook page, a LinkedIn, or a Google Plus page. And we go in, we import email contacts that you might have. We help build a following for your page because, of course, 77% of people believe a review of somebody, right, that they don't even know. So you want people to like your page. We were here. So we go in and we help build that following. We do promoted posts. It's called the Facebook Like campaign. What that does is we help you get likes. And it's done by sending and putting that message in front of people, a targeted audience on Facebook. We also do a social calendar, and we create content on that. And what that is, if you've heard of Hootsuite, which is a free social media management tool where you can go in and manage all of your social media platforms, we kind of have, it's that, but add steroids to it. It's much bulkier, meatier. We will go in, and this is done obviously in collaboration with the client. We go in and write content and we schedule it out. So the customer has that peace of mind that they're actively engaging. Yeah, that's right. Because social media is about that engagement factor.
It's important for businesses to take advantage of social media. And I mean, it's not easy for every small business to take advantage of that because they got so many other things going on. So it sounds like a great promotion, something for people to take advantage of. So a great opportunity there. But it really ultimately sounds like brand is just another name for your reputation. Really, it's just another word for reputation. You don't want to negatively impact that reputation. It's important that you work hard through social media. There's plenty of ways that you can build your brand, even beyond the technology. You don't have to be online. I mean, people can volunteer as a good way to build their brand, show who they are.
And whether you're a job seeker or employer, correct, Eric?
Absolutely, absolutely.
It's just as important if you're a job seeker and you're building a resume.
One thing that you can do as well, when we talked about LinkedIn, is if you are seeking some type of an employment, when you've established what direction that you would like to go in, it's really important to put out useful information.
Right.
Social media really has an 80-20 rule where, and it applies for companies. It really should apply personally. 80% of the time, if you're looking to get into a particular field, you really should be providing information that's useful.
Right.
Even if you're half regurgitating something that you read somewhere else, you're saying, hey, I read this.
You don't want to hear that I'm cooking my chicken tonight? What are you trying to tell me? That's not
No,
useful?
but I don't want to be on social media saying hire me, hire me, hire me. You might be promoting yourself, but you want to promote how useful you
Give,
are to
right,
a potential
value.
employer.
You need value.
Same thing that a
Right.
business does. Look at what I have. I'm concerned about being a useful resource for the people out there.
Right, businesses ultimately, the reason you see, hey, follow us on Twitter or like us on Facebook is not to see how many friends they can have, and I know that's why you do it, Kim, but
basically-
not
that's my
what
life.
businesses.
You got
but
it.
it's to convey that message, right, to customers ultimately. So
That's
we're running a little short on time here, but wow, what a great panel. You guys are awesome. Thanks for being here today. Bridget, Cheryl, and as usual, Kim. And just a couple reminders, job fair Wednesday, November 13th at 4.
Thursday, November 13th.
Oh,
Who am I to
perfect.
correct?
I'll go Wednesday, I guess. Be early, right?
Be early.
Better than going Friday.
That's right. Early is on time.
So November 13th from 9 to 12.
9
and
to
it's
12.
parking down at the Battleship Cove.
Battleship Cove, yes.
Right, correct.
And we will have 3 trolleys running
trolleys.
for pickup,
You're driving that.
for pickup and drop off at the
Okay.
Fall River Career Center and the Battleship Cove.
Fantastic. And of course, the November 19th job fair at the Mansfield Holiday Inn. And that's for veterans exclusively and their spouses.
Yes.
So if you know any veterans or their spouses, have them come down to the Mansfield Holiday Inn. We expect over 30 employers there as well. So once again, thank you, and we'll see you next month at the Fall River Career Center.
Great.